This is the RotoWire Fantasy Football Draft Series sponsored by Circa's Ultimate Fantasy Football Draft Giveaway. In this video, we'll go over the pros and cons of the hero running back and zero running back draft strategies.
All right, Jim. So I'm going to talk about hero running back. And with hero running back, you draft one elite running back early, usually in the first 2 rounds. Then you hammer out the other skill positions, wide receiver, tight end, even if you want to take a quarterback early through the next few rounds. The ultimate goal is to lock in a reliable running back production while building depth at higher variance positions like wide receiver or even tight end. Now, some of the differences between hero and what Jim's going to be talking about later, zero running back, is that zero running back fades running backs early entirely. Well, with the hero running back, you get that anchor, you get that single stud in the first 2 rounds. What I'm going to talk about first are the early round hero running back targets. First, Bijan Robinson. Bijan Robinson, when Michael Penix took over, he saw a monster workload down the stretch. We know that Penix is going to be the starting quarterback this year right out the gate, and I'm expecting this to continue to be a Bijan Robinson heavy offense as a receiver out of the backfield and as a runner. With the full-time role, getting the targets, we could be looking at Bijan Robinson as the overall RB1. I think that's the ceiling for Bijan Robinson. But even if he doesn't hit that ceiling, we know he has a high floor as long as he's getting that volume. But maybe he's a little bit limited in the passing game. Maybe they get other guys involved. So we know we're going to get a high floor out of Bijan Robinson, that consistent production. But if he really pops as a receiver out of the backfield like we expect him to, he could ultimately finish as the overall RB1. The next early round running back target, Jahmyr Gibbs, Detroit Lions. Now, I get it with Gibbs. You have to contend with David Montgomery. They also have some nice receiving weapons. Sam Laporta, who can vulture touchdowns as a receiver in the red zone. But what we saw out of Gibbs, when Montgomery went down last year down the stretch, Gibbs looked like, I hate using the word generational. He looked like a generational running back. He was getting the volume. He was hitting home runs as a receiver. He hits the whole hard as a runner and even takes them to the house. He literally did it all and carried the Lions to some big wins on his back. If they increase his volume just a little bit, I think he also has a shot to finish as the overall RB1. But what we know out of Gibbs, even if he's sharing that workload still, he has the ability to finish as a top 5 running back in points per game. And the floor, we know what it is. If David Montgomery stays healthy all year with Gibbs, we've seen now 2 years of sample size where Gibbs is still maintaining high productive fantasy value, even while conceding some of that workload to Montgomery. Now, the final early round running back I want to talk about, Derrick Henry. He's a staple. Derrick Henry, as long as he doesn't regress because of his age, he's in that offense with Lamar Jackson. That is a really difficult backfield to stop with the RPO threat. And we saw Derrick Henry, it was almost like he was rejuvenated. He looked like Derrick Henry in his prime all over again. If we get the similar Derrick Henry as we had last year in terms of the volume and if that offense is clicking, I don't think Derrick Henry could finish as the overall RB1. But again, in a zero running back, and Henry, you're probably getting him right around the 2nd round. You are getting a building block running back. You are getting consistent week to week volume and production, which is what we want out of the hero. Now, when it comes to the late round targets, because we still need to fill out the running back room on our fantasy team, guys that I love, Brian Robinson, and Brian Robinson is in that Washington backfield. They did not add anybody of note. It's him, it's Austin Eckler, and Brian Robinson for quite a few games last year. He was an outstanding fantasy asset. I don't think the price warrants his production. I think he's a big-time value, and he could easily outperform his ADP. Next outside of Brian Robinson, I'm also targeting somebody like Travis Etienne. I get it. This could potentially be a three-headed monster. People like Tootin, they have Tank Bigsby. When it comes to that all-around talented back, we've seen Travis Etienne perform at a high level, not only as an NFL back, but also in fantasy football. He could potentially be the Bucky Irving of this offense if he is impressing in preseason and in camp. And I'm going to give you one more name to target. Najee Harris. Even though the Chargers brought in Omarion Hampton, Najee Harris on a one-year deal. We know he can handle 300-plus touches. He doesn't get hurt. He's never missed an NFL game. At his big-time discount compared to where he was being drafted before Hampton, I am very happy taking Najee Harris to fill out my hero running back room.
All right, fantasy football legends, how about taking your draft to Las Vegas? Circa Resort and Casino is giving one lucky league the ultimate fantasy football experience, a 2-night stay, a VIP party at Legacy Club, and your draft at a private cabana at Stadium Swim. We're talking limo rides, massive screens, DJs, and even your own booth at the world's largest sportsbook. Must be 21 or older. Get the details at circalasvegas.com. If you're going to draft like it matters, only at Circa. Here's the zero running back. First of all, your goal is you're not taking a running back for quite some time. You're going to load up on wide receivers. You're going to build a high floor, high ceiling base of that position. You also might want one of those top two tight ends, maybe a Trey McBride or a Brock Bowers, to have a dominant group of pass catchers. Now, with this approach, again, you're not probably taking a running back until at least the 6th round or the top 24 running backs are off the board. Here are the pros of that. You avoid the historical injury issue at the running back position by not investing highly in it. You also maximize pass catchers who, aside from last year, are usually more stable in their health rate. Now, instead of having wide receiver depth, because you're going to get those big core receivers, you're going to take a number of lottery tickets at running back in the hopes that at least one or two pay off handsomely. The lottery tickets are players usually in shared backfields with either an injury-prone starter or a backfield where the backup could overtake the starter. Think Chase Brown last year. The cons: major disadvantage against running back opponents, especially early in the season when jobs haven't been stolen yet. There's a chance that none of your lottery tickets hit. Another con: if your pass catchers suffer a high rate of injuries, the fantasy season may be quickly lost. Most fantasy managers try to acquire running backs on waivers, so there's no guarantee you're the one who's going to get the hot waiver wire running back that comes out of nowhere. Here are some players to target if you're fading the top 24 at ADP. First, DeAndre Swift. This is assuming the Bears don't add a J.K. Dobbins or a Nick Chubb. DeAndre Swift will have the full 3-down load to himself. Tony Pollard, Tennessee Titans. We know that he'll share a little bit with Tyjae Spears, but Pollard showed last year he can function as a top 15 running back. Isaiah Pacheco going around running back 30. I don't see any real competition for the early down role. He's already shown the ability to excel in that. And look, he wasn't healthy last year, but that's why he's at the value this year. Cam Skadaboo, running back 33-ish. New York Giants. He'll be in a backfield with Tyrone Tracy. But don't be surprised if Skadaboo is completely a heads and shoulder better player and takes on the lead role. Jordan Mason, Minnesota Vikings. He's in a backfield with Aaron Jones. Aaron Jones doesn't have the best injury history, and also Aaron Jones is aging. Jordan Mason, hyper productive with the 49ers last year. He's already a co-number one. He could be more. Isaac Guerrero, San Francisco 49ers. Christian McCaffrey, there we go. Who knows? If McCaffrey misses time, Guerrero could be the guy. See what happens there. Trey Benson, Arizona Cardinals. James Conner, look, love James Conner, but last year played most of the year, but he has a big injury history. Benson, high draft capital, could separate him. Devin Neal, New Orleans Saints. Alvin Kamara continues to age. He's still playing well, but look, Devin Neal was drafted. He could be the number 2. We could see what happens quickly. Marshawn Lloyd, Green Bay Packers. Josh Jacobs has been a very healthy running back, but Green Bay runs a lot, and Lloyd's a 3rd-round pick. He could easily have a big role and more if Jacobs misses times. Last couple, DJ Giddens, Indianapolis Colts. Jonathan Taylor has missed a lot of time the last few years. Giddens has a 3-down skill set. could get in quickly. Finally, Woody Marks. Get him late in your draft. Houston Texans. Joe Mixon, aging. Marks should be the receiving back. If Mixon stumbles, Marks could step in. If you enjoy videos like this, please consider hitting that like and subscribe button. Also, we're offering 15% off all RotoWire products. Go to RotoWire.com, pick out your favorite product or subscription, and use the code ROTO15, ROTO15, to score your 15% discount. Don't forget to enter Circa's Ultimate Fantasy Football Draft giveaway by going to CircaLasVegas.com.